choose and conquer.
Alright everybody, Baron here, so we are back into Star Wars Battlefront 2. Now, in the last episode, I asked what you guys wanted to see next, and it seemed to be that the majority of the comments, this was beautiful, honestly, was feedback, suggestions, and questions, right? But then after that, the second biggest thing was like the area of what you'd like to see in the next one, and for the most part, it seemed to revolve around heroes in Star Wars Battlefront 2. Now, I will say this, and you're going to see it in the footage. Some of the heroes, I only got for a brief amount of time. I didn't do very good with some of them. Some of the heroes, it's just like when I play certain styles of tanks, I do very well. When I play other styles of tanks, like in War Thunder I'm speaking, I do crap. It's the same thing with heroes. There's just certain things that just gel very well with my disposition and my approach to things, right? So when I play Boba Fett, I do good. When I play as Rey, I get melted. When I play as Darth Maul, I think I get pretty wrecked too. But this is going to be a highlight. And then there was Han Solo in it. There was only 4 heroes, and people were like losing their minds over why is Rey and Han Solo in a prequel battlefield on Naboo? And I mean, that's actually a fair point. And I share that with you guys. Because it's like, I think it was just the state of the game where we were at, and they wanted to show off the two of the newest and best heroes, or like kind of the most hyped for heroes, which I think is interesting. Is Rey hyped more than Kylo Ren? I know Darth Maul. I think Darth Maul and Yoda. Dude, that would have been perfect, right? Darth Maul and Yoda should have been the heroes on Theed. That would have actually made more sense. I mean, that would have made sense, and Rey on Theed didn't. You know, and then Boba Fett's there, and it's like, oh, we'll give him a reskin. Call him Jango Fett. Nah, maybe that could work, right? But anyway, guys, so enough of that. So we're going to be showing off heroes, and I've obviously been watching it for a few minutes now. But the suggestions and questions and what it needs, I kind of wrote down this list. I'm in my hotel. It is 3 a.m. Eastern time, so the time I'm used to. It's 12. I just left this EA party, so I can come back and record, because this, I tell you what, my schedule's pretty aggressive on here, but it's been a lot of fun. Anyway, so one of the best suggestions I saw was, hey Baron, what do you think about like skins being specific to the map or the battlefield, right? So it was like certain clone trooper divisions, certain droid divisions, and you know, that could obviously apply to stormtroopers and you know, first order troopers, etc., etc., etc. I think that's a great idea. We also know that Kashyyyk is going to be coming to Star Wars Battlefront 2, so wouldn't it be cool to have Wookiees as kind of like the power-ups? You know how we have like B2 battle droids? I think we would get Wookiees. I think that's reasonable. If you're going to have a battle on Kashyyyk, Wookiees fine. I think that's totally fine. And Chewbacca's a hero, so I mean, there we go. Anyway, but skins specific to the map in the battlefield, yes. So Alex was asking, how does it feel in 20 versus 20? Because he is kind of the person that I am as well, in that you kind of focus on bigger battlefield games, right? Because I personally think 20 versus 20 is small. I think that it's almost, I'm kind of disappointed, honestly. Now, I'll say this. Do I have fun playing Star Wars Battlefront 2? Oh, hell yes. Do I wish it was more than 20 versus 20? Oh, hell yes. For the same reason, because it's fun and I want bigger battlefield experiences. Now, the map, the Battle of Theed, or Theed on Naboo, that one was, it worked very well with 20 versus 20. With the way that the game played, and how the battlefield progressed. You fought in the side streets around, and if you went into the main street, you could have a bad time if you're a clone trooper or even as a droid. You know, you could get sniped, there's vehicles, all that. If you go on the main street, you're opening yourself up for vulnerability. You are vulnerable, right? So you have these battles in these tightly packed streets. And 20 versus 20 felt very good for that. Especially when the battle gets to the point where you're fighting over a throne room. The throne room battle, it's fun because it's absolutely off the wall nuts. You've got heroes jumping in with twin lightsabers, cutting clone troopers down like nothing. You've got Boba Fett flying around with his jetpack. You've got clone jetpack troopers, you know, launching up in the air, shooting rockets. You've got 40 people fighting in a room and the 2 surrounding hallways. That gets absolutely nuts. It is very, very awesome, and it's hectic. It's busy. There's a lot going on, but that's 40 people. 40 people makes that hectic. Can you imagine bigger? And yeah, certain maps play very well to that. But I think certain maps would also play very well. Like I could see it from both sides. And honestly, I wonder, I speculate that if they're locking it at 2020 and they've been, at least to this point, it might change in the future. Who knows? But if, at least to this point, if they're like, oh, 20 versus 20, I'm wondering if it's like they're putting so much time, energy, and resources into making the game look good, sound good, and play good, that they're, you know, there's always trade-offs and there's always compromises, and I wonder if player size on a map is the compromise. So that was Alex's question. How does it feel on a map like Thief? It felt great. On other maps, it might feel totally different. But I would imagine that they're going to fit the maps to work with the player base. Will we get a Hoth map? I can't imagine we don't get a Hoth map. I think that's just something you gotta have. And that's a bigger battle, right? So, another suggestion was no cross-arrow weaponry, right? Since you're gonna be able to play as all arrows, and for those of you who may not be as familiar on Star Wars, or like, what does that mean? You've got the prequel trilogy, the original trilogy, and then the, what would you call it, the new trilogy? I don't even know if it has a name yet. But that is like episodes 7 and 8. You know, Rey and Kylo Ren in the First Order. That actually sounded more Palpatine. Anyway, so first off, the guys who are doing the weapons have made it a point not to have cross-arrow weaponry because they know people won't like that. And it just won't fit, and that's just not what they're going for. So I'm fairly certain that there won't be cross-arrow weaponry. But Baron, there was Boba Fett on Thief. You got a point there. You've got a point there. So in certain cases, there's cross-arrow weaponry, but when it comes down to the droids and the troopers, the regular classes, there will be, the weapons will more or less operate in the same capacity, but they will, I think they will look different. They will fit the era that they're supposed to be in. So Grayson asked, you know, or actually made a point, and it was a fair point, when I was saying I want elevator and rudder control as well as aileron control for my starfighter. And he was like, Grayson was like, these are starfighters, not airplanes. That's a fair point, and even when you look in the Star Wars lore, it actually works. Like when you look at the TIE Striker, which was in Rogue One, that really interesting 2-winged vehicle that was on Scarif, right? Really cool. And I was like, what is that? And I thought it looked kind of silly and kind of weird. And I wasn't a big fan until I learned about what it actually was through the game X-Wing Miniatures, because I got one. And so the TIE Striker has those 2 wings, and they have a quote adaptive ailerons, meaning those wings can move, because it is an in-atmosphere fighter. It's supposed to fight in atmosphere and not in space. Things obviously do operate a little differently in space. Well, you know what else? That's a fair point, Grayson, and you're totally right. Starfighters are not airplanes. But just because I want, quote, elevator and rudder and aileron controls doesn't mean it has to be a physical elevator, rudder, or ailerons. There's things called RCS thrusters and, you know, other engines and jets and thrusters that help to move a spacecraft or an aircraft along Z, X, and Y axes, you know, to be able to manipulate the spacecraft, the vehicle, in 3 dimensions, because that's what you got to do in space. You know, I think it's totally within reason to have those controls, whether or not they're a physical aileron, because honestly, when you look at, you know, the starfighters in Star Wars, none of them actually have, other than the TIE Striker, and I could be wrong, I think there's others. Actually, Slave 1 kind of has, you know, wings of sorts. Those could be argued to be, you know, rudders, I mean, not like elevators, and kind of ailerons in a way. Anyway, but, you know, we're getting off task here. The point is that just because they're not actual physical rudders and elevators. They're thrusters, and there you go. I want control on all 3 axes. That's all I'm saying, because then it goes from initially what may seem like a more arcadey experience to eventually something that people can hone their skills at, learn new maneuvers, and then get that satisfaction of going from the newbie green pilot who's never flown in a game. Obviously, this is the preface. This is within a video game. To finally that ace pilot. Like, man, I'm really good at starfighter combat in Star Wars Battlefront 2 because I've learned and I've got my butt kicked, and now I'm kicking butt. And this is a very fun and compelling game mode for me to invest my time into, to invest my EA, listen, to invest my money into. Now, that actually kind of goes back to this, you know, map-specific skins. So all the DLC is going to be free, and that initiative is basically so the player base does not get fragmented. Totally agree with that. And I think that they're going. My suspicion. It's really late for me, guys. I've been up and operating. I think the last 3 nights I've got 4 hours, and then 6 hours of sleep. I'm going hard in the paint. Where was I? Yeah. What? Oh yeah, my suspicion is that cosmetics are going to be a big thing, and also stat cards, customization, I think is where EA's looking to make their money. And so let's see. This was also a really good suggestion, since we're also on the topic of starfighters, even though you're seeing hero gameplay or whatever I've got after my hero footage has been used, is Angel was saying, I want free look in the cockpit, because he makes a great point. So there's a certain amount of player base that loves to just be engrossed and to have that feeling like, I'm a starfighter pilot, I'm an ace pilot in an X-Wing or a TIE fighter or whatever. To be able to free look while you're in cockpit view, and I agree with that. I think that is a feature, and he was like, you should tell EA that. I will I will tell EA that. That is an excellent idea. And then Luke was saying, are we going to be able to board capital ships like in the original Star Wars Battlefront 2? Honestly, from what I've gathered, and this is in pre-alpha state, and there's a lot of time left, relatively, it doesn't seem to me, and I could be wrong, and I could ask more questions and push a little harder, I don't think that's what they're going to do. And what I've said is, I think that they're going to do 95%, 95 to like 97% of what we want, and there's going to be that little bit missing. And I think that the bits that are missing are galactic conquest and landing in capital ships and fighting in capital ships. That was a lot of fun in Star Wars Battlefront 2. It was really interesting to be able to destroy a capital ship from within. I don't think we're gonna get that. And then Freddy was saying that he would like destructible objects, and that was actually something that was brought up numerous times by many different people. Is, you know, you want that fully destructible feel, like, you know, the older battlefields. And I'm not sure that that is something that DICE is going to do. I can ask, I can push for it, you know, kind of probe, do my thing as one of these whatever game changer things is what they're calling us. But I think that the word on the street is that that's not really like Star Wars theme when you think about it. Although Rogue One had a little bit more of that, but other than Rogue One, there wasn't really, you know, destructible stuff. But Baron, what about when Luke dropped the door on the Rancor? It didn't destroy it though. But Baron, what about the Death Star? Well, you got me there. Excellent point. There was some serious destruction, but they destroyed a whole planet. You are right. You got some points there. Anyway, I'm having this weird discussion with myself at like too late in the evening. But yeah, this has all been great stuff, and I'm thankful that you guys are as passionate about this game as I am. And it's fun to see all the ideas, the concerns, the fear, and the fandom, and the hope, and just like there's a lot of people that are happy with what they've seen. There's a few that are still holding out on those like specific details. But overall, there's a lot of passion about this game, and I'm happy to see it. I'm very excited for this game. This is a game that I cannot wait to just play and play and play. This is a game that I would, you know, like to stream many hours a day so I could rationalize playing it even more. You know, when you're limited on time and you have to be productive. Well, I can be productive if I'm playing this game a lot. Anyway, guys, so thank you for watching. Let me know what you'd like to see in the next video, and I hope you guys are having an excellent, well, I guess E3 is just about to start now, ain't it?